Okay, part two. So now we had prepared everything for their arrival. We had cooked. I had cleaned the other house. Everything was in order. I had, changed the bed sheets and put fresh bed sheets, and everything was on point. So they arrive in the afternoon, in the evening around 6, and he went to pick them up from the airport. They came in, and then because the food was ready, we had set the table and everything. So I just went to the kitchen and started bringing the food out. We had some things in the oven I took, and everything was ready. Now, remember, I said I always used to sit either in the kitchen or sit at the dining table only when the disabled brother was eating, so I can supervise while he's eating. So now I am having a hard time because I'm like, should I sit? What do I do? Like, do I sit in the kitchen? Do I come and sit at the table? Because now I am the lady of the house. So I was afraid, but I was like, no way, I'm not going to sit in the kitchen. Let whatever happens, happens. I pulled the chair and I sat down. Everybody stopped and looked at me. The girl looked at me. And let me take you back a little bit because, okay, let me tell you this part. So anyway, they sit down and the old lady started asking me, oh, so Rose, how has everything been? Have you been working, everything you've been doing properly? And how has it been? And now I want to take you back because she's asking me but she actually knows what is going on here, because the lady who used to live here had apparently written a letter and sent it by speed post to Europe to tell her that, Rose has now moved into the house, and she's living there, and all these things. So she knew what was going on. But now she's putting me on the spot, and she's like, oh, have you been working? Has he been paying you properly? Like she's trying now to embarrass me, okay? And then I was like, no, I was like, whatever, because I knew that she knew, because the man came and told me, oh, I just spoke to my parents on the phone, and apparently so and so had contacted them and told them that you have moved in. And now my mother was asking me, oh, what's going on? Why did you make Rose the lady of the house? And then I asked him, I said, what did you say? And he said, well, I said, well, she can also be the lady of the house. What is the problem? He was a don't care, by the way. So now this particular moment, she's questioning me and trying to embarrass me, but I avoided all her questions because I knew she knew. Okay, I knew that she had received the letter, and actually with that letter, when this lady sent the letter to Europe, when they should send us, or not us, but when they should send their son's postcard, they put the letter and the postcard in the envelope and sent it back. So I saw it. I had forgotten that part, actually. I saw it, and this lady had put some really stupid details, because she said that at one afternoon she came to the house and she went to the bedroom and she found some pubic hairs. If she found some pubic hairs, then that means that man had brought another woman in that house, because for me, I had nothing to do with that. So she had put in the letter, oh, Rose is so shameless. She went to my bedroom and she left some pubic hair. And I was thinking, did you do a DNA test to know which part of the hair, of the body the hair came from? Like, it was so stupid. Anyway, so I read the letter and I was like, oh, okay, whatever. So now they moved back to their house, and because I knew that I was not gonna work there anymore, I actually had somebody waiting to be interviewed for that job. I had another lady. I was like, the job is available there. So they got another lady working there, And the life now started. Yeah? We started life. In the beginning, it was so. First of all, there was a lot of resistance from the daughter. Of course, she did not accept me in that way. She always used to lecture me, and I'm like, okay. But mind you, I'm only 20 years old, and she's 15, so it was quite weird. And then I remember one particular time, I had just finished my driving course. I had just gotten my driving license. And I remember there was one time, and we actually got the driving license at the same time. The daughter got her driving license and I got my driving license. So we were practicing driving at the same time. So I remember one time I drove because I should pick her up from, she was at a place, she was doing some computer classes or something. So I went to pick her up and she should drive back, and then she refused to drive back. So I had practiced the drive there. I had not practiced the drive back. Remember, like, I'm really new on the road. I just got my driver's license. So she refused. So now I should also drive back. And unfortunately, I was involved in a minor accident where I hit somebody's car. Nobody was hurt, but the other person's car was damaged. I broke some lights, I think. So now they knew this guy. That man was known, like, he was known, so they knew it was his car, and they say, oh no, don't worry, we will sort it out with your father. It's not an issue. Because now they were speaking to the girl, you know, they were not even speaking to me. But then this guy asked, who was the driver? And then the girl was like, it was her. And then, who is she exactly? And then tell me why this girl is introducing me to these people as their house manager. So she's our house manager. Keep in mind that now I'm just living there. Like, I'm not getting paid now. I'm not working now. I have transitioned, according to what I was telling myself. I have transitioned. I have put my clothes are in the closet. I've been living. That's where I've been living, in that house. But apparently, I was a house manager. That thing got me very upset, because I was like, how is it that I'm still being introduced as a house manager? Like, come on now. Anyway, when we got home in the evening, the father came, and I told him, oh, I crashed the car, but our car is okay, but the other car, I broke some mirrors. So, you know, they said that they will talk to you and you will sort it out, because they knew each other. That it was an Indian guy, and they knew each other, so that was not an issue. The issue was, I raised this issue of this girl introducing me to that Indian guy as the house manager. I was like, okay, so we need to get something now in the clear. I need to know exactly what I'm doing here, because I feel like you didn't tell your daughter that now I have transitioned. I'm not working here. I'm living here now. So what is the issue? And then he became a big deal. He won't confirm anything. He won't say anything. He was like, you just want to make problems. Why do you want to make problems? And it just became a big deal. And for me, I wanted him to address this issue with his daughter, so his daughter knows exactly who I am in that house. Okay? He didn't do that. So we had this back and forth with the daughter, and she would behave in a way that sometimes she would just eat and leave things on the table, and she won't do it. Like, she just behaves that she still got a housemaid in the house. And it became a back and forth, and it was really bad, okay? And I remember even the daughter had the audacity to sit me down and tell me, well, since I know you're only here for my father's money, you need to know I am not ready to share my father. At that moment, I didn't understand what exactly she meant. Remember, I am young. My brain is not actually, you know, but I didn't really like capture exactly what she meant. But she said, I am not ready to share my father. I'm not sharing my father. Anyway, there was also like other like really weird things happening in that house. Like sometimes I would get up out of bed and then, okay, maybe I shouldn't mention that, but there were some really weird things happening that I didn't understand. Up to this day, I don't understand what was happening. By this time, we have lived like 2 years together now. And this daughter does not even want to go to college. She had finished high school, but she doesn't want to go to college because I guess she just wants to be there to, I don't know whether she wanted to supervise her father's property or something. And I felt like that was really stupid because all her classmates went, finished their degrees, and some went to universities in the US, finished their degrees. She never got no degree whatsoever. She no education, and she had all the opportunity, but she cannot do it because it was quite weird, honestly. So let's forward to the time when now I started getting, like, I would say I started getting depressed, okay? Because he was very particular about weight. Okay, he was very particular, and he always used to look at me and say, I'm getting fat, and I wasn't getting fat. In fact, I was underweight most of the time because I'm 5'6". My height is 5'6". So I was constantly underweight, but he kept saying I'm getting fat. So if I put food on the, like he would look at, he's eating, but he's looking at my plate and he's like, oh, you're gonna eat all that. So you just want to add more meat and on your body and just get fat and get fat. So I just want you to understand, and I must say here also that he used to also talk like that sometimes to his daughter, and I felt that was very damaging, especially now that I know what was happening. I feel like that is very damaging because sometimes he would refer to his daughter as baby elephant or baby hippo or something like that. And I know you're like, oh, that is just, it's nothing serious, but from the perspective that he was speaking from, it was more like, and because he used to make it so clear that he's against fat women, and he was like, oh, look at that, oh, she's so, look at it. And he used to eat like a pig, you know, like he used to like really eat. Granted, he was a hard-working man, so he wasn't like really gaining weight as such, although like he wasn't, anyway. So he used to have this thing about eating, and it got to me to a point where now I actually completely lost appetite. Like I used to live on tea. In fact, there came a time where now my stomach would not contain a lot of food. Like if I eat and feel like my tummy is full, it will just empty. If you get my drift. Like I could not like have that feeling of my tummy is full. I could not, okay? So it came to a point where now I started, sometimes I would even just, feel dizzy and collapse, and it was just horrible. And let me take you back, because by this time now we have stayed around about 6 years together. So now I'm 26. So now I know you are asking yourself, Rose, what about kids? What about children? Now, from that dinner date, and after we came back and I told him I have agreed to be in a relationship with him, the first thing he did is take me to a family planning clinic, and I was given contraceptives. And I must mention here that he didn't like force me to go there. Like that time I didn't even know if I wanted kids. I didn't feel any type of way about having kids or not having kids. Like I was neutral. So I went, I got the contraceptives, and now by this time I have taken contraceptives for 6 years. Non-stop, no break. Like I was taking them religiously. I will not miss not even one. And until now, that time when something came over me, and just something came over me and told me, I want a baby. So I sat him down. I didn't want, because there are people who told me that I was so stupid. I shouldn't have told him. I should have just thrown away the medication and just pretend I'm still taking, or not throw them away, but pretend I'm still taking them. I'm still taking them, but I'm not taking them. For me, I just didn't want to like do something that I'm gonna just surprise him. Oh, and I'm pregnant, and then he starts maybe rejecting the baby or something like that. I wanted us, if we're gonna do it, I wanted him to be on board. You get my point? So I sat him down one day and I said, you have your daughter, and I have nothing, and I'm getting older. You know, being an African, being 26, and now you're thinking now 30 is coming, and 30 is like something that, especially in those days, people are very afraid of turning 30 and you have no husband and no children, no nothing. So I was like, I want a baby, okay? I would like to have a baby, even if it's just one. At least I will have my own baby, because you have your daughter and I have nothing, and I'm getting older now. That's where the problem started now. Because I told him, I said, I really hope that you will agree, because I don't think I can continue taking these pills anymore. He was like, okay, fine, then you can stop, no problem. So I stopped. And then once I stopped, now we started having so many problems. He started being away for so long, okay? He will be away for weeks, and when he comes back, he's in a bad mood, he's angry, and he doesn't want to associate with me. And by the way, I know now you are asking, all these 6 years, what had I been doing? Like, why didn't I get a job? Why didn't I get a business? I mean, I've already mentioned that the previous lady who lived there had a business. Why didn't I get a business? Okay, let me tell you how these 6 years went. This lady, the old lady, it came a point where she fell and broke her hip. And moved, the family now moved in with us. The old lady, the husband, now the father, and the disabled brother all moved in with us. So now I became the primary caregiver of these people. Cook for them, help even wash the old lady. Okay, we had a lady who was working there now, because now the job, I could not do it by myself, okay? So we had found another older lady, and she became a blessing actually, because I feel like if it was a young lady, she wouldn't have been able to manage that job, because we had to, I was washing the brother. I was now still washing the brother, by the way. So now I'm washing the brother, I'm helping to also give the old lady a bath and cook for them. And unfortunately, after she broke her hip, she also got a stroke. So it became even worse. I couldn't even go anywhere. I was like somebody with a little baby in the house, and you must stay in the house all the time. Like, if I had to go somewhere, I must speak to this lady who was working there and say, can you stay extra hours, because I need to go and do this. That's how it was. That's what kept me busy for those 6 years, because I'm sure you are wondering, like Rose, what were you doing? So anyway, the old lady stayed with us in that condition where she was now bedridden, and we were taking care of her to a point where now she couldn't even chew food. I shouldn't say we, I used to cook, and I used to blend the food, and we now used to feed her with a spoon. We did that for 2 years, until the day came, and unfortunately she passed away. And the day she passed away, it was I remember early in the morning, and I remember it was on a Thursday. I will never forget that day. She called me and said that she's hungry and I should give her food. And usually we used to feed her after, when the working lady, when she would come, she used to come at 8 o'clock. That's when we used to feed her, so we can help lift her up and sit her up. But this particular day, she said she was very hungry. She couldn't wait. So I prepared her some cereal, some cornflakes, with warm milk, and we used to soak it so it becomes like really soggy, like really soft, and like, yeah, that's how it was. So anyway, so I bring her the cornflakes in the morning, and then I start feeding her. And now the lady comes and she's like, oh, why did you start feeding her? And you know, we always do it together. I say, she said she was hungry, so I had to do it. So about 2 minutes just after this lady has come in, she says, the old lady says, oh, take me to the bathroom. So she said we should take her to the bathroom. So we take her to the bathroom. And she says that one of us should stand there and wait for her. She used to do that sometimes. She used to not want to sit in the bathroom by herself, and she would be like, no, somebody should sit here with me. And I'm thinking, we used to tell her, how can you expect us to stand there with you? Just finish your business and then you can call us and then we can take you back to your bedroom. But this particular day, we left her. Okay, we sat on the toilet and we left her. But just before I reached to the kitchen, she called me back, and the way the tone of voice was, you know, you couldn't ignore that tone of voice. Something was wrong. So I rushed back in and I asked her, oh, what's going on? And I found her leaning on one side as if she was falling. And where she was about to fall, there was a bathtub. Okay, it was the wall of the bathtub was just there. So that means if she had fallen, she would have hit her head on the bathtub. And I thank God I went back as quickly as I did, because that would have been really bad on my part, because I don't know how I would have gotten myself out of that. So anyway, I sit her back on the toilet, try to sit her straight, but she's, you know, her head is leaning forward, and I'm like, no, try and sit up, are you okay? But when I looked at her, you know, with these Wazungus, if something is wrong, you can tell by their lips. I could see her lips had turned purple. Her lips were looking weird, like a purplish color, bluish sort of thing. I was like, oh, this is not bad. And she was so pale, like a really bad color. So I was like, oh my God. So I called the other lady. I was like, luckily Hassan was around. He was outside in the compound somewhere fixing something. I was like, call Hassan, something is wrong. Oh my God. And then I started screaming, because now she's really she's making some really bad, like really scary, weird noises that you feel that is the sound of death, like seriously. So I'm like, oh my God. And then they came quickly running, and as soon as the son saw the mother, he knew something. Now she had turned bluish, and she was like really looking bad. And there was a sound coming from her chest, a really bad sound. So he scooped her up and put her in the car, and we rushed. And the thing is, it's like when the death comes knocking, it's like there is something happens, because there was nothing wrong with that car, but it won't start. We pushed the car, we called, there were some people, you know, because it's in the morning, people are going to work, we're like, help us. And we pushed the car started, and we went. By the time we got to the hospital, she had already passed away. It was a very difficult time. For the son, because the son, I would say he was more like a mama's boy or something. They had a like really strong connection with the mom. So it was really a tough time. He would go back to the morgue and tell the morgue people to open. He wants to see his mom, and we would go with him, and it was quite challenging, I must say. So we laid her to rest. And then the father also, I guess that thing hit him so hard, and he also had some issues with health. The lady was suffering from blood pressure stuff, and then the old man was having some like a blood sugar issue. I won't say it had not like really qualified all the way to diabetes, but he used to have like a blood sugar issue. Sometimes the blood sugar would be high, and then he would take some pills or something like that. So I think that thing hit him so bad because it didn't take long. He didn't even last 6 months. And then he also passed away. And I remember that evening, that night, unfortunately that night the son was not there. It was only me and the daughter, now the granddaughter, and of course the disabled brother. So in the middle of the night, I would say around like 1 o'clock in the morning, I could hear the sounds that were coming from that bedroom where the old man was, were scary sounds. So I was scared, but I went, I put on the light and I looked at him, and then again I could see on his face that he was not okay. He was not okay. So I went, I called the daughter. I was like, oh my God, we must take your grandfather to the hospital. Like he's not okay. He's definitely not okay. So we were able to rush him to the hospital, but again, as soon as we arrived, the doctors came with oxygen mask and everything, and they tried their best, but he was gone. So we laid him to rest as well, and then that's when now things started going really bad for me, because I feel like this man now felt that since I have, you know, taken care of his parents, now there wasn't like a heavy burden for him. I feel like he just wanted me to, he just wanted me there to take care of his parents. And I suppose it's like he felt his brother, he can just take care of his brother, because he started acting as if like what am I doing there? You know, he was doing his thing. I remember there was even one time he brought a woman in the house. Up to this day, I don't know what that woman was doing in that house. She came. I didn't talk to her. I didn't say anything. At that time, I had already given up. I was depressed. I didn't care. Like everything was just looking like a movie to me. Things were just happening and I was just watching. And then sometimes he would go away, and then it came to a point when now he moved. He tried to kick me out of the bedroom. I said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm sleeping here. As long as I'm living in this house, I'm sleeping here. If I leave this bedroom, I leave for good, and I leave the house. And then he was like, and what are you waiting for? So he moved from the bedroom. He just used to now operate from the guest room, and he would go for his work. He would stay for weeks without coming back. I remember there was one time he had to go for treatment in the UK, and he left. This is the most painful thing, guys. He arranged to go and pay for groceries in the supermarket, so that he doesn't leave me with any money. So all I have to do is to eat whatever we run out of in the house. I just go to the supermarket, I pick everything, and then they give me the receipt. I go to the manager with the receipt, and then he writes down the amount now that we have spent. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say he went and paid for grocery in advance so he doesn't leave me money. Like, what I'm trying to say here is that the man did not want me to have any money on me whatsoever. So he went and he got his treatment, and he came back, and then he went back to his guest room. Now, this is the part where you're going to call me foolish, okay? This is the part where you're going to call me foolish, because there came a time when he should get a contract. He used to do contracts for big companies in Kenya, like Kenya Breweries. He used to plant barley for them. He used to do contracts for companies like Kenya Seed Company. He used to plant like seed for them, wheat and barley and stuff. So now he had a contract with Kenya Seed that he had not completed, he had not delivered, and he wanted an extra one. So he went, he told me that he wants to use my ID to go and apply for another contract. So, which means that I'm the one who is applying for that contract. And he went, he got the contract. we went together. He applied, and then we went there to the offices. We signed the document. I signed the documents, and then he was now coming in as somebody that I had employed to do the farming, okay, to the planting, you know, to use his machinery. That's how now he was appearing. So I'm the one who is getting the contract, and then he'll get the job done. So he gets this contract fulfilled. He delivered everything, and the money was now deposited in my account. In the Kenya Seed used to work with Barclays Bank, so I had opened an account with Barclays Bank. So they deposited the money in my bank account to a tune of 1.4 million shillings. I would say right now it's like okay, if I say in dollars, it doesn't sound like a lot, but to give you a perspective of what that kind of money could have done in those days. Okay, so to give you a perspective of what that money could have done in those days, this amount of money was enough to, you could buy like a piece of land and build a house. Like you could buy a piece of land like 400,000 Kenya shillings, and then 1 million could have built you a nice 3-bedroom house, okay, with all the finishings and everything. I know even now, you like, if you have 1.4 million Kenya shillings, maybe you could do something like that, but maybe not, maybe like in up country somewhere. But in urban areas, maybe that won't be enough. But in that time, in that area where we were living, actually it was enough. It was enough because I remember there was one time I had really tried to push him to invest in my name, because I was like, oh my God, like what am I doing here all these years? I have nothing, I have no income whatsoever. So I had tried to convince him to buy me a piece of land, like a plot. And it was in the plot I had found, it was like in a really nice area where you could build like apartments or maybe a house and then give it out for rent. And that particular plot was actually 350,000 Kenya shillings. So what I'm trying to say here is like with 400,000 you could have bought a nice plot somewhere, and with 1 million you could have actually built a nice 3-bedroom house. That's what I wanted to show you, what that amount of money could have done. So as soon as we confirmed that the amount of money has been deposited in my account, the same day we checked and we saw the balance, we went upstairs to the manager and we withdrew the 400,000. So now there was 1 million left, and that 1 million, I think he was afraid that I could run away with the money, but I actually didn't have any intention of taking his money. So the following day or 2 days later, we went and he made me transfer from my account to his account to transfer 500,000 Kenya shillings. And very quickly, by the end of the week, the account only had 200,000. I remember very well. By the end of the week, my account only had 200,000. Those 200,000. By Monday, we went again, like we were like back and forth in that bank. And I remember one time we went to make a withdrawal, and he was a very arrogant and very rude person. So he's ordering me around and shouting at me in the manager's office, the bank manager, to a point where he was actually thrown out by the security. That's how horrible he was. Like so uncivilized, so like he was so full of himself. And to show you just how full of himself he was, there was one time he got into trouble with our army officers. I don't know, he had parked his car somewhere, and I don't know what happened. And then some army officers came, and they had some kind of issue where he was slapped by the army officers, because it's like he was trying to fight them or something. Like, he was so full of it. It's one of those people who are so full of themselves. You are in a foreign country, because Kenya was not his country. But he was acting as, and he was constantly, you know, talking how useless we are as Kenyans, how worthless we are, and yet he was making all his money there, and he was living there. So anyway, he makes a big scene in the bank, and then he's thrown out. And then the manager asked me, Rose, we saw how this money was deposited in your account. It was deposited by Kenya Seed in your name. This bank account is yours, so you are our customer. So what is the issue with this guy? Who is he? I told the manager, he's my boyfriend. Or like in Swahili, I say it's bwana yangu, but the thing is, there was no bwana because we were not married. We were just living together. So anyway, the manager says, Rose, you know, you could do whatever you want with this money, you know. Because he was so angry, the way he even spoke to that manager. He was so disrespectful, guys. I don't know if you're gonna get my point. That man was so disrespectful. His daughter was so disrespectful. That the whole family was so full of themselves. It's those colonial people who used to be in Kenya during the colonial time, so they don't see Africans as anything, you know. So the manager was quite very upset. Like, he was like, you know, you could do whatever you want with this money. Like, the money is in your name, is in your bank account. You are our customer. I was like, no, I just wanna transfer the money into his account, or just take all of it out. In fact, after he came back, because I was like, just bring him back, because I want to ask him if we should just take all of it out and then just empty the account. Then he came in with attitude. And then I said, I just want to know, would you rather we just empty the account, then we are done? He said, no, I told you how much money I want. Why are you trying to tell me to plan things for me? So we took out the money. Anyway, to cut the story short, the account was emptied. It was only left with 15,000 shillings. Because of the minimum balance. So after that, I was like, this is it's not gonna work, because during that period it also reached a point where I was admitted in hospital. I had collapsed. I used to collapse anyway, like that was a normal issue, but in this particular day I just collapsed and I couldn't wake up. So I was rushed to the hospital by him. He took me to the hospital, and apparently I had issues breathing, so they put me on oxygen. And I know there are people who are watching this video who are here on YouTube, so they can confirm, because they came to see me in the hospital. So, and I remember this particular, when I woke up the following day, because it was at night, I was rushed in the hospital at night. And when I woke up in the morning, I found I had IVs, you know, drip, and I had a lot of things happening. And there's this particular female doctor who came to me and asked me, Rose, and this is where I tell you, these young women who are on social media claiming how they are living their best life, this is how I know that some of them are lying. Because this lady, she was now at the age I am now, she was in her 40s. And she came to me and she asked me, Rose, what is the problem? Why are you not eating? Because the reason why I was in that hospital, they said, is I was dehydrated, my sugar levels were down, like everything was just down. Okay, I was anemic. They put me on liquid iron supplement that was going through my veins. Actually, when I opened my eyes, I thought it was blood, but actually it wasn't blood, it was just iron supplement. So now she tells me, Rose, why are you not eating? Because the reason why you're here, we have run some tests, we've taken blood samples, we've run a lot of tests. Like they said they tested me for a lot of things, and the only thing they found was wrong with me is that I was malnourished. I was not eating. And she said, okay, first of all, I was like really underweight. Like I was, you know, I was very skinny, like bones everywhere. Like I won't even put that picture here because it will be very disturbing. Because I do have one picture that I took during that time, and it's anyway. She asked me. She said, "This old man, what are you doing with this old man? Because if you're not eating, and we have also." Anyway, if you're not eating, that means there's something wrong. You're stressed about something. Why don't you have appetite? Are you having problems with this guy? Like, what is going on? I said, no problems. And then he said, what are you doing with this old man? And I felt so angry that she would ask me that. I said, I'm with him because I love him. And then she asked me, what do you love the most about him? I said, everything. Everything. And this is why I know some of these young ladies here on social media saying how they love their old men. I know they are lying, because I lied to that woman, and I was actually very angry that she would question me about, you know, what are you doing with an old man and things like that. So anyway, long story short, I was discharged from the hospital. I was given some appetizer and some other like supplements, iron and multi something, like tablets with multivitamins. Yeah, multivitamin supplements. So I went home, and I knew, at that moment, I knew that I was not going to stay in that home much longer. And I must take you back a little bit and say, when his father was going through that whole process of, he lost his wife and he fell sick, because he also actually became bedridden, I suppose because of the loss of his wife. The way he treated his father, I knew that that man, if something were to happen to me, he wouldn't give a about nothing, because he was told by a doctor that we actually had taken his father to the hospital, and he stayed there for a few days, and he was told by the doctor, it was recommended by the doctor that the father should have a private nurse who should be coming to look after him, and they said if he's not eating well, because he was not eating well. I actually think that man, the reason his condition actually worsened, I think it's because he was not eating well. So the doctor had recommended, if it comes to a point where he's not actually eating as he should, that they should put him on drip. So they should have a nurse coming to check up on him and test him and test his blood sugar. We actually had a blood sugar kit in the house. I used to know how to do that. I used to know how to take blood pressure, how to test for sugar. We used to do that at home. But the doctor recommended that they should actually hire a private nurse to be coming and looking after that old man. He didn't do it. And I kept reminding myself, your father is not doing well. Your father is not doing... He neglected his father until his father died. So when I saw how he treated his father, I knew this man, he's an evil man. So after I came back from the hospital, I knew I was not going to stay there. And it didn't actually take me long now to leave that place. So the time came. I remember very well, it was on a Friday, and he was at home that morning. And I told him, I said, I'm leaving. And he said, keep dreaming. Where will you go? I said, I am leaving. Like, I don't care where I will go. but I'm leaving. He said, you must know that you are not leaving this house with even a single cent. You are not leaving this house even with a single cent. You are not leaving with any money. I said, that is fine. In fact, I said, in fact, I'll be right back. He said, where are you going now? I said, I am going to the bank. I am going to empty that account and close it, and I am going to bring you your money. He said, oh, you are lying. You're lying, you Kikuyus. We know you. There is no way you can bring back my money. I said, what money is that anyway? If I did not run away with 1.4 million shillings, what is 15,000 Kenya shillings? So anyway, because I knew I was going to leave, I had collected my most important documents like my birth certificate, my passport, my ID, my driving license. I had put all of them in an envelope, and I put that envelope in my bag, the one I always had on me. So I took that bag because I knew if something happens and I'm not allowed back in the house, because he was like that. He was an evil human being. So I knew maybe I could go, and then he could say, no, now you have left anyway. Give me my money over the fence, and you're not allowed to come back in my house. So I had taken my documents. I was like, clothes and shoes, that's not an issue. So I went to the bank. There was not a long queue because it was in the morning hours. I emptied the account, I closed the account, and I came back with the money. They deducted some money, because I remember I didn't actually give him exactly 15,000 because the bank deducted some money. So I think I gave him like 14,000 or something, but I didn't take anything from that money. So I brought the money, and I handed the money. I was allowed in, because the thing is, that place was a gated community. There was a security guy. So if he could tell the security guy I'm not allowed to come in, I could not come in. But I came back in, I gave him the money, and then I told him, I asked him, I was like, can I use this suitcase for my clothes? Because apparently I had nothing in that house. In fact, I even asked him, can I take my clothes? Because he used to tell me, I feed you, I clothe you. And keep in mind, this feeding, he won't allow you to eat anyway. So I was like, I asked him, I said, what is this thing you keep telling me that you're feeding me? Because I don't even have peace to eat the food anyway, because you keep telling me that I'm eating to get too fat, that I'm getting too fat. But anyway, he used to say, I feed you, I clothe you, you are nothing, you are useless. So I asked him, can I take my clothes? He was like, yeah, you can take your rubbish. He called it rubbish. You can take your rubbish. I said, can I use this suitcase to take my clothes? He said, yeah, of course, yeah, whatever. So I took a few clothes because I was like I had given up on life. I didn't even care anyway. I took a few clothes. In fact, I think I left most of my nice clothes because like I didn't care. I only cared about my documents because I was like, it's so difficult to get documents. So after I had put the clothes, I said to him, I said, now I'm leaving. He was like, yeah, fine. Bye. Where will you go anyway? And before you leave, I want you to understand something. Nobody will want you. Look at you. Look at you. Nobody will want you. You will end up homeless anyway. You have nowhere to go. And for that, I told him, you should be ashamed of yourself, because you took me when I was 20 years old, and now by this time, guys, I had just celebrated my 30th birthday. And to make the matters worse, guys, nobody remembered that it was my birthday. I spent my my 10 years that I stayed there cooking for these people, baking for their birthdays. I spent my time learning how to decorate cakes for these people. And then when my big birthday came, my 30th birthday, nobody remembered. In that family, nobody remembered. Nobody. So my 20s were done. I had nothing. I had nowhere to go. but I had to leave. At this point, I was considering like just ending it all. Like I was like what am I leaving for? So I wasn't even sure what I was doing. I wasn't sure whether I was gonna leave, even as I'm taking my documents, because I know I said I didn't want to leave my documents. I was like, okay, I'm gonna take my documents just in case I decide to leave, like to be alive. But at the same time, I was like, okay, let me just take my documents. The place I decide to end it all, they will know who I am, because I will have my ID and my passports and everything. Like my mind was just chaos, guys. It was just chaos. So I tell him I'm leaving. Like I don't care. Yes, I am homeless right now. I have nowhere to go. But I just want to be out of here. I just want to be out of here. Like I don't care. I really don't care. And I said to him, I said, if there is a God in heaven, I hope that he will revenge for me what you have done to me, because I have been nothing but good to your family. I have taken care of your parents until their passing. I have taken care of your brother. The brother was there. I said that after your parents passed, I continued taking care of your brother, washing him, cooking for him, give him a bath, yeah? Cooking for him, shaving him, cutting his hair, cutting his toenails, and like I was taking care of that. I was taking care of that man as if he was my own brother. Because for me, I felt if I am nice to his family, if he sees how kind I am to his family, maybe he will turn around and maybe do something for me. And this is why I say sometimes being kind to the wrong people, it's a waste of your energy. It's a waste of your energy, my sister. Being kind to that old man, you think that you're gonna soften him up and make him do nice things for you because you're being kind to him. Please let me come with another part because it's getting too long.